Everything was so dark and quiet when I left this morning. I was sure I was the only one up. I wasn't, of course. There's a whole world of people out there already well into their day. While we sleep, they're hitting the road, getting ready to roll up their sleeves and create a better tomorrow. These are the people who protect and nurture the land that sustains us. Our guides in life's important moments, whose expertise we trust when we need it most. They're by our side as we navigate the big decisions, sharing their knowledge and inspiring us to become the best we can be. They're the people who understand the impact of the actions we take each day. They know that to create real change, we need to do this together. The ones who genuinely care for us and keep an eye out for the vulnerable. Under their watch, the next generation can grow proud and strong. And our resources are secured so that communities thrive in a healthy environment. These are the people working hard with resilience and drive so that tomorrow is a new day, a better day. You might not always see them on the news, but the world would certainly miss them if they weren't here. They're people just like you, the people who put in what it takes every day to create a world worth living in.
All right, so that is what Charles Sturt University is all about, helping you guys create a world worth living in. So tonight I am joined by a couple of our student ambassadors. We've got Matt. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Steve, how's it going? Hey, guys, happy to be here.
And we've got Grace.
Hey, guys.
So just a little bit of housekeeping before we kick off for the night. There's a chat box, so you guys are more than welcome to pop some questions in there. And our team is on the line. We have a number of representatives from around the university to help answer some of these questions. And if we get stuck, we'll absolutely come back to you. We'll also be recording this session as well. So just keep that in mind as we go through. And yeah, we'll jump straight in, I guess. So the acknowledgement of country, I'd like to pay my respects to the Wiradjuri, Ngunnawal, Gundungurra and Buripai peoples of Australia, who are the traditional custodians of the land in which Charles Sturt University campuses are located. I'd also like to acknowledge that we are meeting on different lands across the country and pay respect to the respective Indigenous owners. I'd also like to extend my respect to Indigenous elders, both past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to anyone who is present today. So a really great question. Why should we study at Charles Sturt Uni? First and foremost, our grads have the highest graduate employment rate in the country. Should be in a full-time position within 3 months of completing their degrees. And this is because employers love our graduates, because you guys will receive training that makes you qualified, extremely confident to take on your new role, and really have a passion and desire to change your world. We've got your back from day one. An experience that I remember from university was my residential advisor was like the first person that I met, and they're there to help you out for your first year, second year, third year, and ongoing. During orientation, we have student support leaders that will help guide you around university to make sure you are familiar with yourself. Familiar with our campuses. But most importantly, we have a lot of other services as well that you guys can access around career officers, health officers, scholarship teams. There's finance officers that can help you with your budgeting. And if you're thinking about studying online, you are absolutely not excluded from this. These services, more now than ever, are accessible to everyone who is a current student at the university. We believe, I guess, in all of our courses that the best way to learn is by doing. So our paramedics are on the dummies literally from day one. Our ag and vet students will be in the paddocks learning animal support, safety on farms, and making sure that you guys get hands-on skills from day zero, essentially. Theatre media students are on set from day one, creating their grand idea for the year. Our dental students are in wet labs, examining teeth, bone structures to really start getting familiar with what they're going to be taking on in the world. What's really awesome about studying with Charles Sturt University is our academics have a strong connection with industry. Generally, they'll have an extensive knowledge of the area that they teach. Our paramedic lecturers, they are, in some cases, ex-paramedics themselves. Some of them are even current paramedics still serving in the New South Wales Ambulance Service. Our business lecturers have worked in relevant industries around finance, marketing, human resources, management. There's so many opportunities, and these guys have hands-on knowledge and first-hand knowledge of what they are teaching you guys, passing on their wisdom. A great thing about Charles Sturt University is that you're more than just a number. Our academics will know your name by day 1 or 2 at least. They do have a lot of students, so be patient with them. They'll make the time to understand how you learn as an individual. Everyone is a little bit different, and we acknowledge that. Myself, I like my lectures, I like my academics, I like hearing from them in person and their stories. My friends really enjoy reading out their textbooks and getting all the knowledge that they can. And what's really important and ties back to the video that you guys just saw is what we call everyone can, I guess, be here to make a world worth living in and create a difference in their communities. And we believe that we can help you do that. So you'll be given 5 points for living in the regions or regional Australia. We can make adjustments based on setbacks you've had during high school, maybe bushfires, floods, droughts. We've seen all of those occur over the last 12 months. Starting regionally. So I think a lot of people think coming to a regional university might be a bit of a barrier. And I honestly couldn't disagree more. Myself, I moved from Sydney to Wagga to do my undergraduate degree, and now I live in Bathurst. There's no limitations to studying regionally. You're presented with so many more opportunities. You get more opportunities to give back to your communities. And that's really what employers are looking for in the workforce these days. And we'll touch on some of these really important skills later on. I do want to highlight Charles Sturt University main campuses. So we do have campuses at Port Macquarie, Orange, Bathurst, Dubbo, Wagga Wagga, and Albury-Wodonga. And I guess depending on what course you are looking to go into will really dictate which campus I guess you'd go to. Keep in mind that I'm going to give you a bit of a general idea of what's offered from each campus, but there's more than one offering across everywhere you go. So Port Mac's really like nursing, education, business, paramedicine, policing, criminal justice and law. Orange is our allied health hub, dentistry, medicine, new program coming to 2021, physio, pharmacy. Bathurst is like business, communication, our engineering program on the new and awesome facilities in Bathurst, exercise, sports science, education, law, criminal justice. Dubbo is like teaching, nursing, education. Wagga is like our ag and wine science campus with the farms and all the greenhouses, different labs to do your soil testing and all that sort of stuff in. Animal veterinary sciences, business, creative industries, education, nursing. Psychology is a really big one on the Wagga campus. And Albury's like our little environmental campus. Occupational therapy, physio, speech and language pathology, IT, education and nursing. And as I said before, like that's quite an overview, I guess, of everything we offer. The best source of truth is to jump onto our website and find which course and which location works best for you. But what you're all here for tonight is the Charles Sturt Advantage Early Offer Program, a program designed to assess you guys on your soft skills and not so much your academic skills. I believe, and I think a lot of my peers believe, and the workforce, that if you have some awesome soft skills that you can showcase, you're going to be way ahead of everyone else in the world. So a little bit of history on our program. We started last year, technically we started last year for this year's students that have come through. We helped, I guess, more than 700 students secure an offer to study with us across all of our campus for 2020. And now it's your turn to jump in and have a go. So what is the program and what's it all about? So essentially, as a really broad overview, you'll receive a conditional offer before you sit your exams in year 12, so your HSC exams, or the Victorian version. We'll make an adjustment on your Atar based on, I guess, the courses you select, and you guys will get opportunities to jump into an exclusive support program that will help familiarize you not only with what your course looks like, but the university, campus life. So you're ready to come for a week in March in 2021, and you're ready to go. So I've mentioned soft skills quite a few times now, and I guess a really good thing to know is what are soft skills. So some of these things I know in high school I didn't have. There was no way in year 12 I would be up in front of potentially 100 people chatting to you guys. I'd be nervous, I'd be wrecked. So I got to develop these things obviously as I grew up a little bit. So soft skills look at obviously communication. So if you can chat to someone and deal with maybe conflict or different personalities, and you can, I guess, work away on that, work with the people to achieve the best outcome? Perfect. Different attitudes all make up your soft skills. And essentially, soft skills are skills that robots don't have. So the world is slowly moving into this more automated environment, and there will be a need, again, that'll come around in the future for people to employ people that aren't robots. We want people to be able to have a conversation. It's really important in a lot of industries. Like an example I'll use is maybe a vet, practicing vet will need to talk to pet owners about what surgeries they're going to do, and it could be quite emotional for them. People working in sales really need to have an awesome communication skills, and you need to be able to relate to someone really well. So the question is, do you have some of these qualities? And qualities we are looking for in the application process is around resilience, empathy, and motivation to create a world worth living in and really help out your communities. And I'll go through the application process a little bit later on in the presentation and nut out each of the different steps for you. What I will do though on this slide here is I've got a couple of my student ambassadors on the line who will be able to maybe chat through some of the ways they got through the program. So if you guys would like to pop up and appear. Grace, thank you. Grace, how long did it take you to write your application for the Charles Sturt Advantage program?
Right, so I spent a fair bit of time writing mine. Personally, I put mine in a Word doc and I typed mine all out. I got it proofread by my mum, my older sister. So I did spend a couple of days, really, probably about a week all up, really trying to get my point across, kind of, because at first I didn't know what soft skills really was. So yeah, every time I come back to it, I realize, oh wait, like I'll add this. But yeah, so it took me a fair while. But
yeah, but I think you could probably agree that you put a lot of time and effort into it and you were made an offer to come and study with us, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And I will circle back here. I'd actually kind of forgot to introduce you guys and what you guys do study. So I've got Matt who's studying education, and Grace, if you'd like to introduce yourself after that amazing little question answer time.
Yeah, so my name's Grace. I'm a first year and I study a Bachelor of Paramedicine at Port Macquarie.
On Port Mac. It's nice sunny Port Macquarie.
Yes.
So jumping out a little bit further here, what are some of the ways, I guess, you might have developed soft skills? So for the application, we really like some examples are sporting activities at school, debating, public speaking, any extracurricular activities. So you might be like a team captain. That's really great for empathy and resilience. Volunteering in your community. If you've done a Bunnings barbecue with your club, that's another really awesome way to put some examples in. Any casual work and overcoming some hard times. So Grace, do you have any examples or what sort of activities did you, I guess, do prior to starting university, and how did they help you with your application?
So for sporting, I played soccer. I loved it. I was always talking. It was really good to get out there and kind of get away from school life as well. But the communication aspect of that, could easily have a chat with anyone on the field. That really helped me, and talking to other people and really understanding, not to judge someone by how they look. Because once you really got to know some of the soccer players, it was just, you had so much in common. It was just awesome. That definitely helped. And I worked in cafes, so I was always talking to people, and I loved that. I loved talking to people.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really what we look for, I guess, for people with soft skills. And as employers, as a university, soft skills are so important for students. So I guess some of the benefits of the program and why you probably should apply through the Charles Sturt Advantage program is it's going to take a little bit of pressure off you. So having a conditional offer before you sit your HSC exams gives you guys a benchmark to aim for. And there's an Atar adjustment, obviously, as part of the program. That's awesome. You can attend a heap of exclusive events, as I mentioned earlier. So that was last year we had a residential retreat. There was an on-campus welcome day. Our student ambassadors run a group Facebook page for all the new Charles Sturt Advantage students. You get to meet like-minded students as well. So everyone's come through the same program, all on the same level. You might all be studying different things, but you're all sort of in that same mindset we're really looking for. And who doesn't love free stuff? Grace, I guess for you, another question. Sorry, Matt. How did you find the support for the Charles Sturt Advantage program as a student? What what can you take away from this?
With the support has been amazing. The amount of support I've received through this program, and yeah, going on those retreats, and I got to know the place. So on my first day, I was really familiar. I felt so comfortable, and I was really excited rather than so nervous to meet new people, because I already made friends through the Advantage program. I already met some lecturers. I already met some older students. So my first day was really, you could just enjoy it. I wasn't nervous at all. It was, yeah, the support has been awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Did you feel more comfortable coming to university knowing that you, I guess, knew some people already? Did that help?
Yeah, definitely. And I know some people from school that didn't go through this, and they just were a bit of a nervous wreck. But when I got there, I knew some people, and I was walking around talking to the lecturers, and it was really helped out with that aspect.
Yeah, and I guess as someone who worked at all these events to make them like come to life, we really noticed that all the students that sort of came through our overnight retreats knew each other, and then during orientation they were good to go. They were way ahead of everyone. So that's really a really awesome benefit of coming through the program. So jumping through a couple of testimonials. So this student is Emily. Emily's studying a Bachelor of Nursing on the Bathurst campus, who came through the Charles Sturt Advantage program last year. And yeah, as you can see here on the screen, she was super relaxed knowing that she had a place ready to go. She was familiar, and yeah, jump into her exams without having any pre-stress, I guess, around what offers are going to come out, when and where. And we also have Jessica. So Grace, you actually know Jessica, don't you?
Yeah, I met Jess on I think it was a residential retreat on the first, as soon as I got there, we met each other, and we're best friends now.
That's so cool. I love that. So Jess is actually coincidentally also studying a Bachelor of Nursing up on the Port Mac campus. So yeah, a prime example of how you two know each other based off this program. Really cool. And then while we're all here tonight, so the guy in the background here is Morris. Morris studies a Bachelor of Paramedicine on the Bathurst campus, and he's going to help us on how to apply. So essentially you guys will submit an application online. So the website to jump in on that is csu.edu.au/advantage. And you'll answer your 3 questions around resilience, empathy, and like your motivation to create a world worth living in. You have to nominate, and really important to make sure you nominate 3 courses. Put as many tickets in the barrel as you can. Provide the details of one referee, and they, I guess, we'll contact them, and we'll do the background work to see that you're awesome. That's what we want to know. And then really, really important in UAC, make sure you preference us up to 3 times, and put 3 preferences in UAC so you can be obviously made an offer. Applications are open right now, so you should already be working on them if you're not, and they will close on the 31st of August this year. And I guess what we're all here for tonight is some application tips and tricks. And no doubt you guys will have a lot of questions around courses and what we should include. So my team is on the line, ready to answer some of these questions. It might come through me, they might get back to you guys directly. We'll see how it goes. But essentially, make sure obviously you submit your application online. That's really important. Make sure you include relevant examples for each of the soft skill questions. So something could include around empathy. You might be working as a volunteer first aid officer, and someone injured themselves. They're obviously really distraught. You can empathize with that person. Make sure you obviously answer each of the questions. That's really important too, and make sure you put them in the right order. We don't want to get them mixed up. That'll cause problems for you down the road. Proofreading your application is a really good idea. Grace did it, got her mum to read it. I'd recommend reaching out to your parents, brothers and sisters, anyone who can have a second read over things, because you familiarize yourself a lot with what you've written. A second eye is never going to disadvantage you. Really important, make sure you select your Charles Sturt Advantage courses in your UAC preferences as well. And there's a bit of a catch here, or it can be a bit complicated, UAC, I think we all agree. So with UAC, what we recommend is course 1 and 2 should be your dream courses, where you guys will see yourselves in 10 years time. Course preference 3 and 4 should be your pathway program. So for instance, if you're looking to do a Bachelor of Education K-12, pop that in number 1. Might be a different version of the education degree in number 2. And if you're not really sure on your grades, or if you're going to quite get there, a Bachelor of Educational Studies is a really good 3rd preference, because that's a pathway program to get you set up to go. And then your, say, 5th option is really a Diploma of General Studies or a Charles Sturt Pathways. just as a really final fallback plan to get you to your dream job in the future. Applications have opened, as I said before, close on the 31st of August. You'll find out around your offers and what they look like mid-September, fingers crossed. And you'll basically come on board, start your course in March of 2021. And it's a really exciting time. So I'm going to introduce Matt. Matt is a current student ambassador who came to Charles Sturt University through the school recommendation scheme. Matt, what courses did you apply for through the SRS?
So yeah, I was prior to the Charles Sturt Advantage, and I came in through schools recommendation scheme. I applied for a Bachelor of Education K-12, which is the course that I'm now studying. I also applied for a Bachelor of Business Studies and a Bachelor of Accounting.
Yeah, awesome. Are you, obviously you're glad you got through the program. How have you found, I guess, your course?
I've loved every minute of my course. I was one of the kids that sat in year 10 and went, I'm not coming back to school when I'm finished. Like, I'm never going to be a teacher sort of thing. And I changed my mind right at the end. I put it in there and I came away with it, and I haven't looked back. Like, I've been on placements in schools and absolutely loved it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So a bit of a background on what the school recommendation scheme is. Hopefully you've all heard about it, but I'll give you a broad overview. So we assess based on year 11 results. Your school will give you a recommendation, and basically offers that come out of this program can be either conditional based on, say, some Atar adjustments, or it could be unconditional. So basically that offer's yours. You're coming to Charles Sturt in 2021. And really those sort of conditional, unconditional offers are based off the course you're picking, your kind of grades you had in year 11 and 12, and obviously your school's recommendation. I highly recommend that you apply for both Charles Sturt Advantage Early Offer Program and the school's recommendation scheme. It's extra tickets in the barrel, and yeah, gives you the best chance to get to university. Now, there are some courses that are excluded from the school's recommendation schemes, and these are some of our really popular courses and high demand courses like engineering, dental science, there's maybe medicine and vet. So just keep that in mind. The best place to find out, I guess, the most up-to-date information is on the UAC website and on the Charles Sturt Study at Charles Sturt website. But in terms of presentations and all that sort of stuff, what we'll do now is we're going to launch a quick poll, and just going to get a bit of an idea of where everyone's coming from this evening. And then we're going to break out into some questions and answers. So while that poll's being loaded up, just want to highlight some really good places to get some information. So the study.csu.edu.au website has all the course information you'll ever need to find. Everything you need to know, it's there. There's also a place on that website where you guys can reach out and do one-on-one consults with the team, and we'll spend 45 minutes chatting to you about different pathway options, different entry requirements, you name it. Any questions you have, that's a really good opportunity to ask them. Our events page on that as well will have all our upcoming virtual open days, and fingers crossed, our virtual open days. Our 1-800-275-278 number is a really good place for you guys to reach out to our contact center. These guys are course experts. They will find the information for you in one way or another. Follow us on social media, Study at Charles Sturt. I love my Instagram. And of course, question time. I'm just going to quickly bring up the chat box, and I think we've got some people on the line who are going to read some questions out for me. Maybe. Katie? No? Yes?
Yes, I'm here. Beautiful. So I was just going to reply to this one, but Tim Nelson just asked if SRS results come before the HSE exams, and they are released the 12th of November. I've just made sure to get the correct date. We've also got another question. Stephen, if you want to handle this, what happens if you do not achieve the ATAR required after you have received your conditional offer?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. So we have a number of different pathway options that you can jump into if you don't achieve your pathway option, and it's absolutely not the end of the world. If you don't quite get the ATAR, readjust your UAC preferences, and obviously UAC will make you an offer based on your highest eligible preference. So just be aware of that, and that's where it can get a little confusing to putting your preferences in the right order. Always absolutely recommend Dream Course number 1. Katie, anything you'd like to add to that?
No, I think you've done well. I'm just trying to read through the rest of the questions. I love how fast they're coming through, so please keep sending them through. Do you have a pathway to becoming a vet? Vet is not one of the ones included in this program. So Stephen, did you just want to talk about the alternatives for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of our competitive courses aren't including, say, SRS or the Advantage scheme, but we have a number of, I guess, alternative pathways you can pick as well. Look, and don't rely on alternatives. Aim for the highest ATAR you can get, study the hardest, and try and get to where you want to be. But specifically talking about the Charles Sturt Advantage program, if you're looking to, say, come in and do vet, for instance, you could look at coming to do, say, animal science. Animal science is a really popular course. It's quite closely related. You get a lot of industry experience in your first year of study, before you can then reapply in your second year. You can look at doing a Bachelor of Equine Science. Again, you get a lot of industry experience, specifically focused on the equine industry. Or veterinary technology, to give you a broad medical kind of overview of the veterinary world as like an entry pathway.
Great.
Katie, I've got a question here. Does the application apply for all courses, including medicine? So medicine does fall into that same kind of category where it's a really high demand course. And there's some additional testing that you guys have to do as well around UCAT, some interview processes. So it's not directly included in the Charles Sturt Advantage or the school's recommendation scheme. But again, there's some preparation courses that you can do, I guess, to prepare you to take on a medical degree. Things like a Bachelor of Science or a Bachelor of Clinical Science, both offered from our Orange campuses as an alternative. But again, aim as high as you possibly can. You really want to get to where you're going.
Beautiful. And one from Anne is about the advice to students who have different course options when there's only one application. And I think this might be speaking about the third question, which is how does the course that you're looking to do help create a world worth living in? Mm-hmm. So you can just answer that question in regards to your number one preference within the Charles Sturt application. And then that will still apply. If you answer that question well, that will still give you the conditional offer into the other courses if that's the case. So it doesn't matter. They don't need to apply to each one. And just on that as well, I did just want to highlight that the referee only needs to speak to one question and one example as well. They don't need, the same person doesn't have to speak across all questions to you as well. Do you have another one, Stephen?
Do you still need to go through UAC even though you are no longer in high school? A really good question. Thank you, Ruby. And ultimately, it really depends on what course you decide to go through. The best thing to do is jump on our apply.csu.edu.au website, and you'll have to answer a couple of questions, and it'll just direct you to the right place to go. And that'll depend. It could be on what qualifications you've got. It could be around what course you're studying. Those who are studying online and want to study online will basically apply directly to the university. Katie, your turn.
Beautiful. Do you lodge the UAC/VTAC application before or after the Advantage application? So you do your UAC or VTAC applications at the same pace as you normally would. So make sure you get those in as early as you can so that you get the on time. You don't have to pay that extra fee for the late fee. So you just do your UAC VTAC application as normal there. Just to highlight with VTAC, VTAC you can apply through that for our Albury-Wodonga campus. The Albury-Wodonga campus is lucky because you can apply for it via UAC or VTAC. But then if you're looking for courses at all our other campuses, you make sure you just do that through UAC specifically.
Yeah, awesome. Another question here as well, is law a part of the Charles Sturt Advantage program? Yes, in short, it is a part of it. There's also the double degree, so Bachelor of Laws and a Bachelor of Criminal Justice that you can do through the Charles Sturt Advantage program. That sort of answers that question. Katie, your turn.
Beautiful. How do we get our point across in 150 words? Any tips? That's a really good question. I would recommend maybe starting with some dot points. Grace might have some tips here as well, so I'll get to you in a moment, but you might start with some dot points of what type of things you're looking to get across, and then start writing it out, and you can start cutting little bits here and there. The most important thing is that you're showing that you have an example, and that so you're showing that you're demonstrating that you have that skill, and that you're really answering the question. So you'll find that 150 words, you'll be able to do that within that time. Grace, is that kind of how you went about it?
Yeah, I started off with dot points, and I had one example in each thing. So one example of how I showed like empathy, But I just kept writing and I didn't worry about the word count. And then once it was written, then I just highlighted the important parts that got my point across. And then that definitely fitted in the 150 words.
Beautiful. Thanks for that. Stephen, I've got another one here. I'll go 2 in a row. Do you need to put 3 preferences in the Advantage program, or can you just put 1 or 2 if you're not interested in other courses? You can. Just the first course is required and the others are optional. So that's, if you don't want to put others, but if you want to put some backup options in there, we encourage that. Stephen?
Katie, I think we can answer this one in unison, I think. What is the difference between UAC and VTAC? So UAC is the University Admission Centre. And Katie, what's VTAC?
I work at the Albury-Wodonga campus. That's why he's picking on me for this one. VTAC is the Victorian Tertiary Admission Centre. So they're just different tertiary centres for the different states. With VTAC, you get 8 preferences. With UAC, you get 5 preferences. So if you do live in Victoria, you'll get sent that VTAC number. If you live in Victoria, you can access your UAC from the start of August. So don't stress out if you can't access UAC as of yet, but you will be able to in plenty of time to get all this sorted.
Yeah, awesome. And just a general question, I think, that we can answer for everyone who's sort of asked it. Bachelor of Nursing, so anyone who wants to become a nurse and basically a full-time hero at the moment, let's be honest. You guys can study that across all of our campuses and all 5 of our campuses and online. So like Orange, Port Mac, Dubbo, Wagga. Patty, I've missed one. Is it Albury? I've missed one.
Sorry, I was reading the questions. Start again.
Yes, nursing. Nursing is offered at Bathurst, Orange, Dubbo, Port Mac, Wagga.
And Albury.
And Albury. Yeah, so all of them. I nailed it. See, I'm not silly.
I just want to follow up with what, oh, sorry, continue.
No, you go, you're all right.
I just want to follow up with what I was talking about. I was referring to Victoria a lot and sorry, I'm just based there, so I always think of that. But I've got a question here about Queensland and it's the same type of thing. So you'll be able to access your UAC from the start of August and you'll get your UAC ID then as well. So you won't be disadvantaged at all.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'll talk briefly as well as a question here earlier about the Indigenous Access Program. I'll talk really briefly on how that works. It's different for everyone, but essentially it's about a week-long sort of program offered normally it's around July and sort of November and January. Not sure with COVID at the moment, we're sort of playing it by ear, but you'll sort of be, I guess, assessed almost, you could say, on literacy skills, math skills. You guys will get to do a bit of an essay and a presentation. And then there's an interview with the course director at the end of it all to sort of secure your offer. It's only lasts about a week and there's heaps of support available through like Oz Study to get, I guess, prepared to come to university. And there's a heap of courses that are on offer through the Indigenous Access Program that you can absolutely sort of take advantage of and start studying in 2021 in the course that suits you.
Beautiful. I've got a question here about, is Charles Sturt Advantage exclusively conditional offers? Is there the opportunity to gain an unconditional? So with this, in mid-September, you would receive if you're successful, you would receive a conditional offer and then it becomes unconditional once we've received your Atar. So there's no option to get an unconditional offer at that September time, but it will turn into unconditional in the first round after your Atar is released.
Yeah, awesome. A question here as well, Katie, is what course should I undertake if I want to become a zookeeper? Look, my recommendation is really have a look at either like veterinary science or animal science, simply because those courses have a lot of broad placements that you can undertake and allow you to sort of really shape your future career to make sure, obviously, you know what you're doing, you get the right area, you get the right hands-on experience, and hey, you come out with a veterinary vet degree at the end of it or an animal science degree.
Beautiful. We've got another one here about referee. So they're not required to provide a written reference. We just need their contact details so that we can contact them and have a chat if we need to. But definitely give them a heads up before you put their name down so that they are aware that that might be coming for them. Yep.
Yeah, excellent. I'm just scrolling through the questions as well, Katie, just trying to find a couple we haven't answered yet. There's one here that you might be able to answer. Sort of ties into what we mentioned before. How does it work if you already have an Atar from, say, last year? What's the process there?
It depends if you're applying directly to us or through VTAC or UAC.
Yeah, okay. yeah, essentially same sort of thing. Jump on the Apply website and we'll navigate you to the right spot eventually. Grace, actually, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
How did you find, and apologies in advance, you're only on campus for a couple of weeks. How did you find your first few weeks of uni? What was that experience like?
Right. It was a lot easier going through the program because I had been at the campus. I had stayed over there overnight at the Resi retreat, so I already knew, and I did stay on there. Like I was a resident at Port Macquarie, so I ended up, because of the Resi retreat, I ended up actually staying on campus. So I knew everywhere. I knew a fair few of the lecturers because I did meet a few at the Resi retreat and some older students. So it was a lot easier for me. But yeah, uni life was awesome. It is awesome. It was, yeah, and just everyone at I'm only going to say Port Macquarie, but I'm sure it's all the other campuses. Everyone at Port Macquarie was so friendly. It was just like a little community there. It was just like I felt at home as soon as I was there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Matt, I'm going to throw the same question back at you for a different perspective. How did you find your first few weeks of uni, and how have you adapted to everything? I guess you're sort of in your second year now, you're a seasoned veteran.
Well, Steve, I'm actually sitting in my third year.
Third year, sorry.
Yeah. I came in as a bit of a nervous student because I'd been up to the campus and visited through the open days and those experiences, but starting out university, I came to the start pretty nervous and concerned with what's going to happen. But as Grace said, Port Macquarie, and I'm sure other campuses much the same, it's a little community that it took a couple of weeks. You made some great friends, and it was so chill and relaxed. It was really good, easy to settle in. I think I liked the biggest thing, and I say this a lot, is that like I knew lecturers and they knew your name after your first or second lecture or tutorial. You could walk past them in Coles across the road and they knew who you were, and it just made you feel
awesome.
at home.
That's awesome. Katie?
I've just got a little question I want to answer. It just got sent through to me. Just about the age group of people who can apply for this program. So it is just for year 12 students, but if you're in year 10 or you're in year 11, we've got a really good subject selection night on tomorrow night that you might want to tune into. So check our Facebook page and you can see the link there on the screen.
Yeah, and just to elaborate on Katie's point there, so like if you're in year 11, probably don't look at this program just yet. Keep it in the back of your mind. For anyone who is, I guess, past year 12, I don't know, we'll call that year 13 and beyond, you guys can absolutely apply to the program as well. We obviously don't exclude. We're not, you guys can apply, everyone, just not year 11 yet.
Yep.
Soon.
And you can apply directly to our website with that as well. As well as like the application to your course directly to the website, but then also the normal application that everyone has to do.
I've got another question here as well, Katie, I'd like to answer. Nice and easy one.
Yes.
Is paramedicine part of school recommendation scheme and or the Advantage program? The answer in short is yes and yes, a part of both of them. So yeah, if you're interested, throw 2 tickets in the barrel and hopefully double your chances of getting an offer to come study with us in 2021.
And I definitely did apply for both. So I definitely recommend doing both.
Living example of how well it works. Perfect.
Beautiful. Just a good question there about how do we apply for SRS? Stephen, have you got that?
Yeah, so when you do your UAC sort of application and your preferences in UAC, there's a little tick box, tick the SRS box, and pretty much done. There's some sort of conditions on some of the courses, maybe education would be one of them, around some additional questions you'd have to answer. Just make sure you have a look on the UAC website that you do meet all the requirements and you've done everything. You don't want to miss out because you've missed a form. That would be devastating.
Beautiful. And I just also wanted to highlight a question about scholarships as well and how this ties in. You do a scholarship application later on, but I did and that's through the scholarship portal. You can find all that on our website. It's really clear to find out which ones you might be eligible for. But in conjunction with this, you might like to, as Grace said, save your answers into a separate Word document, and it's really good to have already brainstormed the type of ideas that demonstrate resilience and empathy, because you might be able to use that kind of information and those examples into other applications that you might do in the future.
Yeah, of course. And I've got two questions, Katie. Let's still double. One question here is the Bachelor of Psychology now under the Charles Sturt Advantage Early Offer Program? Yes, it is. So Atar selection rank for that one is 75. If you're a little bit unsure or not certain you're going to get to 75, I'd highly recommend looking at the Bachelor of Social Science in Psychology. The outcomes are much the same. The first 3 years of social science and the first 3 years of psychology are virtually equal. Obviously there's a bit of research, but we have the same process to get you guys ready to take on, I guess, become a generally registered psychologist. If you're not aware, to become a psychologist, it's about a 6 year sort of time frame, but in between starting and finishing, there's so many opportunities you can take a hold of and really get there and make sure you got lots of work experience, you're working and good to go. And the other one I wanted to answer, Katie, and sort of just highlight and mention is that anyone looking to apply through school's recommendation scheme, make sure you do get your applications in by the 20th of September. That is the closing date. So don't miss out because you've missed the date. That would suck. Katie.
Beautiful. And the same with SRS. If you're in Queensland, you still can apply because it will go through UAC. And if you're applying to one of our campuses, you will have to apply through UAC anyways. So yep, you can still be eligible for that.
Cool.
What about how COVID has affected a lot of activities, and although you had plans, you're not able to practice, so how does this reflect on your assessment to the Advantage applications? That's a really good question, and we would just ask that you think about things you've done in previous years, or it's volunteering, school leadership, or even sports. So I think a lot of those things you might have done previously prior to all COVID-19 as well. It doesn't have to be the most recent thing that you've done. It doesn't have to happen within a certain timeline. It's just one example from your life that demonstrates empathy and resilience.
Yeah, and on the applications, there's a question here, Katie. How do you work out my conditional Atar? Is it based on the quality of my application? So I guess broadly, yes, it is based on the quality. Applications are literally like pass or fail. You obviously want to do the best chance you get because you don't want to fail. Most courses, the discount, Atar discount, finger quotes, is 5 points or up to 5 points. Some courses have some other requirements. The best thing to do to find the Atar that you're looking for is jump on the Advantage website. You can pick your career area and then the courses are all listed there.
Yep, beautiful. And we've just got a question about how do we find out what courses are not included in the program. So the best way is to go on our website and go to the Advantage page, and through that you'll be able to look at all the different courses and you can see them through career areas. So if it doesn't come up as being valid, then it's not included in this program.
Yeah. That's good
and
summary
have
there,
we
Katie.
mentioned the regional bonus adjustment factors and how that plays in with this as well?
I mentioned briefly, but if you want to chat about it, absolutely.
Okay, it's a little bit complicated, so I just want to make sure I explain this properly. So if you live regionally, rural or remote, you're eligible to receive 5 bonus points added onto your Atar. So let's say, for example, you got a 60 Atar. Once it goes through our admissions process, it becomes a 65. Now, the course you might have been looking at in the course guide or online might say 70, but through this program, you might receive a conditional offer, and through this program, you might that might come down to 65. So for a lot of the courses, there will be a 5-mark reduction. So it comes down through this program and then through the regional adjustment and comes up. So they meet together in the middle. So potentially you could receive a 60 Atar, but you're actually getting into a course that is advertised as 70. So there is a big difference, and they definitely play in. One doesn't cancel out the other. You can do both. Is that clear, do you think, Stephen?
Yeah,
If you
you've
have
painted
any
that really
questions
well.
about that, let us know.
And Katie and I work here, and it still kind of confuses us sometimes. So I totally appreciate how you guys kind of feel working all this out. There's a question I'd like to answer as well, Katie. With the recent subject cuts by Charles Sturt University and changes to the government course funding, what sort of courses are, I guess, affected at the university? So at the moment, it's proposed changes. we really have to go on what the government's advice is and what they're sort of dealing with on a day-to-day basis. We're committed to our regions. So I would be very surprised if ag didn't exist next year. I can almost certainly guarantee it will. We just, I guess, streamlining our processes. We need to band together and make sure we can all get through COVID and we can still provide opportunities for you guys, your kids, your friends to come to university in the future. Katie, over to you. That's my quick wrap up.
Beautiful. I'm just trying to read one about someone that has done HSC over 2 years and they have some of the results now. And do they think this will affect being able to apply for Charles Sturt? Definitely no. You'll definitely still be able to apply for Charles Sturt University. Any scaling that needs to happen will come out with your Atar. So it won't be from, you know, just the 3 subjects that you did last year. It'll all come together with the other subjects that you're completing this year, and it'll all be scaled through UAC or VTAC, whoever is doing that for you. So you definitely still apply for Charles Sturt.
Yeah, absolutely. Question as well, Katie, should you apply through UAC within a certain time frame after completing your Advantage application? Look, really, I guess the answer is yes. Make sure you apply before UAC closes and make sure you apply before Charles Sturt Advantage early offer program closes as well, and you'll be fine. We'll do all the mapping together in the background. You don't have to worry about that. Our team's really awesome, and we'll do everything we can to help you guys out.
Beautiful. Just a question about the reduced ATAR that I was speaking of. So not all the courses will have a reduced ATAR, and this is something that you can also see on the website as well. So when you go onto the Advantage part of the website and you can see which courses are included, it will also say whether they have a reduced ATAR or it is the same as normal, but by going through this program, you still get all those extra benefits that surround it. And yep.
Yeah, awesome. There's a question here, Katie. When do you guys start calling the referees? Peter Greding, who's on the line, has already been calling referees at the moment. We have had heaps of applications come through, so we kind of check them out as we go. So pretty much we started. We're calling referees from yesterday, 1st of June.
Beautiful. So the advice there is once you put in your application and you've named that person as your referee, make sure you let them know.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't want to cold call. That could be awkward.
Beautiful. We've got some questions about regional schools, and so we've got the postcodes written there. That's also something that you can look up.
Katie, do you know what the date is you need to have your preferences organised in UAC for first round?
We always speak about just that on-time application so that you don't have to pay extra. It jumps up from like $70 to around $250 plus. So it's really just getting it in, your preferences in then, and then you will have a few different change of preference periods as well, where you can move them around a little bit if you need as well. And all those dates, the best place is UAC, just because they had, you know, with all this COVID things, if anything changes, UAC is our point of truth. So I would recommend heading there just to make sure you can mark all those things in your calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. A really good question here from someone, Katie, is, hey, I'm in Year 12 currently, and I'm trying to apply to the University Certificate in Workforce Essentials, which, for those who don't know, is the pathway to become a police officer and get into the Goulburn Police Academy. And ATAR isn't showing. So you actually, with the University Certificate in Workforce Essentials, you need to be 18 years old to apply to that program, or be 18 in the time of enrollment. There's a few examples on the police recruitment website, which is a really good resource to jump to, and I'll pop that in the chat for you, that sort of indicates all the different examples and pathways. So I'd recommend jumping on there and I guess seeing where you fit into that. And then what you should really do is come back and book an appointment with one of us, and we can chat through all the details, I guess, really specifically. And we can even reach out to some of our course directors if you've got a really complex case to work with.
Beautiful. I don't have any other questions, but I've scrolled through them very quickly. So if anyone from our team could let us know if there's anything we've missed and we want to highlight, or please keep sending questions through if we've missed anything or you just want further clarification on anything. We're very happy to chat. If you have questions for Grace or for Matt, current students at Charles Sturt at the moment, or about the application process or about the residential retreat that Grace attended and that Matt helped host, please send them through as well. That would be really useful. We've got a question about elite athletes and whether they get bonus ATARs. So for the Elite Athlete program, you do have a separate application form additionally that you would fill out, and that can help with admission, but it will also help you get some flexible support once you're in the course as well. So the benefits for Elite Athlete program, and that includes performers and coaches as well, and if you have the potential to become an elite athlete as well. So definitely go for that application to try and help you get extra support going in as well. Stephen, was there anything you wanted to add to that about Elite Athlete?
Different levels of elite athlete as well. The name says elite athlete, but there's support there for all different levels. So if you're like a coach, for instance, probably none of you guys will be get one day. There's pre-elite. There's like if you're an elite dancer, it's not just like kicking a footy around the field. There's a heap of different options that our elite athlete program coordinators can help you, I guess, get through university, tackle the world, literally. Football. Get it? The reference? Someone laugh. Question here, actually, Katie, I'd like to jump in and answer, is there paramedicine? So paramedicine is definitely a part of the Charles Sturt Advantage program. Atar, adjusted Atar for paramedicine is 65. And then make sure as well, precursor to this question is that if you are applying through Charles Sturt Advantage early offer program, you need to do your UAC application. That's super, super important. And you also need to make sure you apply through our website as well so we can bring them together.
Beautiful. You can also find out, there's just a few specific questions to specific people about those regional bonus points I was talking about, and you can find more information about that on our website or on UAC as well. They'll be able to give you some details exactly of like where your location is and how that will fit.
Yeah, awesome. A couple of questions here I've noticed, Katie. Sorry, I'm only at time on this thing at 7:29. There's a lot of questions after this I haven't read yet. So where can I find the list of all the Charles Sturt Advantage courses? Best source of truth you'll find is on the Advantage website, so csu.edu.au/advantage. And you can pick all your different course options from there to find what's right for you guys.
Beautiful. That's anything else?
I've got another one here. Government recently announced an increase of student numbers who can apply for university. Does that mean more students can enter into certain courses, Commonwealth supported courses? Kind of a double-edged sword. We don't know just yet how this is going to work, but I guess some courses do have caps, and that's purely because of space. So I think veterinary science is a good example. There's about 65 places every year. And that's just because the facilities we have in Bathurst, in Wagga, are really designed for the small classes, so you guys can get hands-on learning. It's hard. It's course specific. It's industry. It's what's in demand at the time. We can't guarantee we'll increase our courses, and we also can't guarantee we won't decrease our course either. It's a bit of an awkward question.
Beautiful. Just the question about, there's a few questions about the popular courses and if we have limits or anything like that. So there are some limitations on our most popular courses. So make sure you put in second and third preferences there. The process is still the same. You're still giving yourself an extra opportunity to get into it as you would if you just put it through UAC. So definitely still apply on those. So the question around if you preference Charles Sturt as number 2 behind a competitor, will you be disadvantaged? No, but you have a better chance of an offer if it's your number 1, as you get an offer for your highest eligible preference. So if you can get in on your first offer, then that's the offer you'll receive. But if you want to get in with Charles Sturt, you need to put us number 1 so that you get that highest eligible. Yeah, but I understand all the questions around preferencing and offers because it is a little tricky.
Yeah, absolutely. A question here, Katie, that's come through is the Bachelor of Nursing / Graduate Diploma Clinical Practice Paramedic course available every year. So what we've done with this course is nursing's going through a bit of a review at the moment. We really need to make sure our courses go through review all the time, so they're the best that we can have and we can offer. What we've decided to do is actually remove the double degree, the 2 things, and we're just doing them separately. So essentially what you'll do if you're looking to become like an intensive care paramedic, which is where that stream will take you, is jump into the Bachelor of Nursing and then, jump into your postgraduate study once you've finished. And that's really the process.
Beautiful. We'll just have a few more questions. So one about speech pathology and how many are taken. I don't know that for sure, but I'll get back to you. I just wanted to highlight, since I'm from Albury-Wodonga, that we have some really cool facilities on campus. So if you haven't, please visit us for open day or campus tours when they're back up, so you can see them. They've got some really new facilities that are really cool with telehealth and some different things happening in the industry. And then just the one, if you're looking to study in 2022, should you apply this year and defer and or apply next year? I would recommend doing it all this year and then you can defer. So as long as you're allowed to defer your course normally through Charles Sturt, you can defer within this program as well. So you would get your conditional offer in September, you would accept your offer if you get that unconditional after your Atar, and then from then on you'd be able to choose whether you'd like to defer, and that's all in the student portal once you become a student. So you'd still be able to get all like the free merch, like the hoodie I'm wearing at the moment, and you'd still be able to come to our December residential retreat and meet everyone as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And a question that's going to come through, I think, around what courses can be deferred. So there's one here that can nursing be deferred? Yes, it is not on the non-deferrable list. Some of the courses that can't be deferred are like dental science, medical radiation science on the Port Macquarie campus, oral health, paramedicine on the Port Macquarie campus again, physiotherapy, social science, psychology honours, and obviously vet science and veterinary biology, just because they're really competitive courses. Once you get an offer and that's your place, it's really strongly encourage that you guys take it. Another question that's come through, Katie, that I'd like to answer is what kind of agricultural research facilities are available at Wagga? So I studied in Wagga. I didn't do an ag degree, but I can talk about this for a little bit. So we have a building called the National Life Science Hub, and it's a mix of teaching labs. There's about 4 of them. And then there's like a research center. So in your later years of your degree, you might get the opportunities to work on PhD research projects as like a research assistant. You'll do a lot of your classes down there. There's the veterinary clinic on the Wagga campus, which obviously is a functioning vet. They have imaging, they have like large animal storage, they have surgery rooms, x-ray rooms, you name it. It's like an actual vet clinic. It's enormous. They have like a horse treadmill. Yes, horses have treadmills. There's the anatomy lab, which is where they do all the anatomy pracs. They have like different, like wet labs are all really sterile environments. Vet students have access to like the actors room, which is like a fake vet clinic that's kind of set up with a one-way mirror. Your class watches you like treat this fluffy dog named Spot. And there's a whole, like they get actors in to sort of, I guess, portray some of the things you'll come across as being a vet. There's greenhouses all over Wagga campus, literally everywhere. There's a rhizolysimeter, which is like an underground kind of hut where you can look at plant roots and soil and how they all, I guess, interact below the ground. And then there's all the farming facilities. On Wagga campus, they have like sheep, cattle, horses. There's some sometimes odd animals that are roaming around too, like alpacas. There's adjustment horses. There's some weird things that happen on the Wagga campus.
You
and
can
then they do
so tell you went there. You have so much to say about Wagga.
I love it. It's amazing. It's a really nice town.
Awesome. I just want to also, I mentioned this briefly before, that if you're interested in the different campuses like we've been chatting about, then please do visit us. So we've got open days coming up in September. That's very exciting. Those dates have just recently been released and they are on our website. We will also have before that, just before this closes, so August 18th, we'll have another online event like this, but you'll have the opportunity to break out and have some personal consults with people to look at your draft if you want that. Very happy for you to submit if you're ready, but if you need that closer to, you can. And then also we've got our parent night, that is the 4th of August. So if we've got any parents here watching, please make sure to come along to that. Stay tuned for all the details of that to go out. And then we're also doing virtual study consults, and we just do them over Zoom. And hopefully soon we'll be able to have some face-to-face consults, or you can choose to just do it over the phone as well. So you can speak to myself, Stephen, or other members of our team, and we will be able to give you some more personalised advice, especially if you have some really specific questions. That will be really useful. And that's something that you can do at any point. You can include your parents, you can include your career advisor if you'd like, whatever works for you.
And another one as well is around our open days that are coming up. Virtual Open Day will be happening a little bit later in the year, and I think I speak on behalf of everyone when I say I'm really excited to hopefully, fingers crossed, have on-campus open days soon, because they are probably the funnest day of the year. You guys will get the opportunity. We literally open our campus doors. It's yours for the day. We have heaps of people around to guide you through all the services and other bits and pieces.
Just thank you to Grace and Matt as well, that were our current students, and we're able to chat to you more about what it's really like being a Charles Sturt student as well.
Yeah, have an awesome night.